It's a bank holiday Monday, and who doesn't like a 3-day weekend? Honestly, I think every week should have a 3-day weekend. I think it was Henry Ford that first started the 5-day working week under the guise that he wanted his employees to be able to afford to buy a Ford motor. He wanted his employees to be able to buy the products that they made. And I guess that whole capitalist, industrial, whatever type mentality just stuck. And here we are today. Everyone's just working 5 days. Got no time for family, no time for hobbies, no time for kids. You come back after working, 8 to 10 hours, some even more. You come home and all you got time for is really making some food, maybe go gym if you're active, and then sleep really. And then we wonder why our families are sometimes struggling to communicate with each other, sometimes breaking even. Couples not engaging and just, filing for divorce. But yeah, it's not a great start to this video. Let's start something a bit more positive. So the sun's out. I don't know why. It's like bank holidays are just timed around good weather. There's been a few bank holidays, I remember that. It's been grey, overcast, or raining. But yeah, roads are dry, sun's out. I've got sun lotion on. The road's actually pretty quiet. Everyone's just recovering from the night before, or people are just at home resting. I need to fill up. I've got the fuel gauge on. I don't really know how much reserve I have in this tank at least. Some say 10 miles. You don't really ever risk it. I've done 4 so far. But yeah, it's nice to get out again. I think I spend more time thinking about wanting to ride than actually being able to ride. As I said, I guess in the start, you don't really have a lot of time to do things that we really enjoy. So it's always good to, when you can, set an alarm to wake up earlier than you usually would on your 3 days. Get out there, make most of the day. Carpe diem that. Let's put I'll put Tesco Momentum in. And that's 99 Ron, I think. Ron or Eve, I don't even know what, make sure. Tesco Momentum gives you a little bit more bang for your money. Shell is good as well. I think Shell is 98. But I'm pretty, like with most drivers, or people who love driving, a bit particular about what fuel I put in the car. I'll avoid putting in like supermarket fuel. Tesco is an exception because they do Momentum, which is good fuel. But everything else I just try and avoid. I try and stick to Shell. That's my main go-to. So I'll put this in, and then the plan is to go for a haircut. I've been wearing it out for like 4 weeks, trying to use the most of the moments I have with my hair before I think I lose it all. I think they say you get your hair from your mum's side, the men on your mum's side, maternal side. As far as I'm aware, 2 of my uncles are nearly bald. They're doing the Homer Simpson look right now. So yeah, just growing it out, but I need to fade the sides a little bit. It's starting to look a little bit caveman-y. It's starting to look like Moogly. Okay, one advantage of fuel stops is you can go on either side. Okay. There's quite a lot of cars today. Maybe people are just going places. You've got one day to get yourself to Brighton, Bournemouth to the beach. Probably to go see your mum, dad if they live far away. Yeah, a lot of time gets spent traveling. I didn't really plan anything this bank holiday, to be fair. I just thought keep it simple. Where's 99 octane? What's Tesco then? So usually out of a tank in this I can get about 22, 23 pounds, 24 depending on the prices. And I get about, with the R6, about 130 miles, 133 miles I think I get out. That could obviously be far less if you're riding spirited. I don't always fill mine up to the top, like I just kind of put about 20 quid worth really. And then I'll get about comfortable 100 miles out of it. So I don't think it's that much far off than a car. And petrol, you put 20 quid in, how much do you get? The car guys will probably know, I can't remember. Probably the same if anything, 100 miles. That was what, 22 pounds? 22 pounds for enjoyment. That's one thing. You think the fuel you're putting in is more economical, but really and truly what you're doing with your bike, you're just riding anywhere really, no destination. And so you could consider it to be an added expense to your car. Yeah, so plan is to get a haircut because I look like a caveman, and then just go for a little drive, ride somewhere. Keep saying drive or ride. Drive the bike, ride the bike. Okay, Bismillah. Let's reset that. I can't even turn my head properly because of this camera. So I was gonna ride a little bit outside of Milton Keynes today, just so that you're not seeing just roundabout after roundabout. set my frames per second a bit higher this time, so I'm expected to get less, kind of, or more actually, more smoother footage. The setting that I had it on before was kind of more supposed to be cinematic, film-like, and I guess I uploaded 1080p. Some of my friends have told me, just, even though it takes longer, just upload 4K. So I'll do that even though it takes longer. So yeah, I was gonna talk today about my identity. I'm British Bengali, I guess British Bangladeshi. That's what I tick on the surveys and the questionnaires. And yeah, basically, I just wanted to talk about how I feel about my roots, where I belong, where I'm going, where I am. I called the channel The Lost Son of Bengal, and I'll talk a little bit about the reason behind that name. But yeah, I think the UK, alhamdulillah, it's a melting pot of cultures, more so than a lot of countries. We have people all over the world, across Her Majesty's Empire, over 100 years or more even, have settled in the UK from various walks in life. Some have come here through trade, merchants, who travelled to these shores and who had basically business with England. And others came here through other means, such as employment, through war. People fought for the British Empire, and some people came here as a result of slave trade. And so a lot of the people born here in the UK are here as a consequence of the British Empire's growth, to put it in a kind of nice term. But yeah, everything the British Empire did had an impact on a lot of countries around the world. All these Commonwealth countries caused migration, mass migration, and ultimately it has become now the system. Yeah, so it's become a melting pot of cultures, and it's working, you know. I mean, we have problems, don't get me wrong. There's definitely a lot to improve on. Things at times have gone bad, at times improved. The state right now, I think the sentiment on the foreign parasitic force on UK, it's a talking point right now. It's kind of like it's top of mind for a lot of people. And I can get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, it's a great country, and it's caused so many people to aspire to come to, you know, the UK, to work here, to settle, grow their families, find employment, earn good money, get a good education, and to be able to not even just raise their family here on these shores, but also be able to support their family back home. So I'm Bangladeshi, I guess first generation. My dad came here when he was 15 years old, I believe, back in the 80s. His brother came here earlier, probably the 70s, and my granddad came here earlier than that, but my granddad never settled. My granddad and his brother were during World War II. They both were working with the British Army, Navy, whatever you want to call it. And as a result of the war, they traveled to different places on these Navy vessels. And there was factories as well that they could work in between. My grandma, her father, he passed away on a Navy vessel. I believe it was bombed, and the ship went down. So my grandma grew up without her dad. And my granddad and his brother, they came to the UK for a bit. My granddad's brother ended up going to America, and he liked it there. He met a nurse in America while in between tours, fell in love with her, and then settled there. And then my granddad, he came and stayed in the UK for a bit, and he settled here in Bletchley. I'm sure he went to a few other parts of the UK, but here in Bletchley, he stayed on George Street. That's where his house was. And they worked in factories, I believe. And slowly, he was able to bring his son over. And then the rest is history. My granddad never actually stayed in the UK. He missed his home country, so he went back. And my uncle and his, my dad and my other uncles slowly came here. And the reason my granddad didn't stay here was he loved his country, he loved back home. And when he brought his sons to come work here, I guess his intention for them was that they would do the same thing. They'd come, work, make a bit of money, and go back home. But it never happened. And so I was born, my cousins were born all here, and we adopted the British way, really. We're English boys. Let's see if my barber's even open. It's open. It is. I'm a bit too busy. Assalamu alaikum. Are you okay? Yeah, good. Yeah. love this barbershop. No queuing, no bookings. Just turn up. Got Rafiq uncle doing his thing. Does the job for me. I'm not very particular about how my hair's cut. Just give me a standard Asian boy fade and I'm happy. I'm just going and ask for that. Right, where are we going? Where should we go? Just checking my zips are done. That's one of the paranoids of riding. All your things falling out your pockets. Alright, we're good. So yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, I'm here as a result of my grandparents working under the empire, and there was opportunities to migrate, opportunities to work abroad, right? They didn't go in a refugee type situation. They didn't go as out of, need or desperation. It was an opportunity handed to them by Great Britain while it still had its Commonwealth powers, and so many people took up the opportunity to travel. And these families, they left, with that sense of adventure and that sense of exploring a new world. And I can imagine how scary it is, because the language barriers, the culture, everything is so different. But they did it, and a lot of these people came from remote villages, remote parts of the world, and they've come into this Western nation, with its own way of doing things, its own system, its own advantages as well, right? And so yeah, basically I was born as a result of my dad being here in the UK. And my granddad told his sons, take your time here, if you can, earn money, educate your kids, and try and come back. I wouldn't say he gave them the condition that, you have to come back. He left it open for them to decide. And my uncles and father, they got married, had their kids. They ended up enrolling into the British education system, and the rest is history. So when I was growing up, having a red passport, Lal passport, was an advantage as a Bengali. I knew this because my family back home, my relatives in Bangladesh, would depend on my dad, my mum, and they depend on all of their relatives that were in the UK or abroad to help provide for them as well. And that was because of the power of the currency. Also, in terms of jobs, there was a higher unemployment rate, and just less opportunities, I guess, and a lot of people were still in their farming life, and the kids who were born here, grew up here, farming wasn't the natural course for them. One, how do you get to farming here in the UK? to you're born here and then to be sent back, must have felt at the time that you're being kind of robbed of a potential opportunity to get a good education and good healthcare and just a chance to become a high earner, a breadwinner. Whereas back home, I think it was very slow pace of life. There wasn't, necessarily poverty, but it was poverty in terms of opportunities to be able to build up and to be able to gain wealth. Those who were fortunate enough in Bangladesh who were part of, if you like, the political aristocracy, or who were already born into very wealthy business families, there's no need for them to leave. But your common man from the village, there wasn't really much to do. You'd have to really think hard for what to do. So I guess, my education was here in the UK. I'm grateful for it. A lot of my DNA and makeup is what Great Britain taught me, how to conduct yourself, being mindful and respectful of the neighbours, striving to do well in all the establishments, whether it's the educational institutions, the universities. Try to get into a established company to work, to pay your taxes, and to also enjoy the UK. To enjoy the sights, the scenes of the country, and you had the access to travel abroad as well, because your passport gave you access. Before Brexit, you could go to anywhere in Europe, in the EU, without needing any visa applications. And then there was the element of safety. Crime is not as crazy as it is in some parts of the country, particularly countries that have, poverty, war. So it was a safer upbringing. I had the access to good healthcare. Any illnesses, I had asthma as a kid. I had the access to all of the support from doctors and all of the medicine that helped me. And I'm sure the NHS and British society helped many people with their families with whatever illnesses, ailments they had. And so we prospered, and I tried to take as much advantage as possible of the opportunities that are around me, to study, to go get GCSEs, sixth form, go university, get part-time jobs. It was all there, and I'm thankful for that. But I'm now at this stage in my life where I see the UK struggling, and a lot of the narrative is it's the immigrants that are causing this unrest in society, the breakdown of true British life, and there has been an influx of migrants into the country under both the Conservative and Labour regime, and a lot of it was caused by people being impacted through war, displacement, and all kinds of wahala, nonsense. And so UK is a small island, it's not as big as America, so resources are already constrained. And UK is known, not just to be like full of buildings and high rises, It's known for its greenery, you know, its pastures, its green land. The people of Britain want to maintain that, you know, and it is our, to some extent, it is our fuel system, our food system, the ability to, the capacity to expand if needed. And so there's a lot of farmland still in the UK. Is it supporting itself? No, probably not. I think the farming system in the UK needs a complete revision. It needs a complete revolution in the way farmers are rewarded for their work and the way the cost it is, the costs of farming. It is hard. So we depend on a lot of food coming in from exports, from imports. Let's get this actually. So yeah, UK is probably getting a little bit saturated with the different colours and cultures of people, and your traditional Englishman probably feels some kind of existential threat about that. No one likes their own country being taken. No one likes their own land being stolen. And certainly no one wants their culture and heritage wiped out. I can appreciate that. And that's a struggle all over the world, right? We're seeing it today. How do I identify in all of this? I've gone back to Bangladesh as a child. I've gone back in my teens, my early 20s. I've been back a few times. And I love it, honestly. There's that common saying, like, you end up becoming a bit of a coconut being in the UK or America or France or whatever. But honestly, I really love my culture. I eat traditional Bengali food with my hands, with my right hand. I can speak the language. Am I the best at it? No, probably not. But I love it. I love the dress, the attire, I love the customs, I love the respect that they ingrain in you, you know. But there's a lot of overlap with British tradition, you know, to be cleanly, respect your neighbour, to earn honestly, you know, don't be corrupt, to preserve, you know, and importantly, have a family dynamic, and succeed, you know, strive to do well, strive to become educated, strive to get to the top of your field, you know. In Britain, you know, there's the great in Great Britain, and we try to be great. And I think, is Britain great today? Probably not. Probably not. You know, we've had so much political corruption, so much geopolitical unrest. Probably made one or two gambles that didn't work out, like leaving the EU. Our cost cutting, our taxation, didn't get the formula right, you know. Ended up taxing the wrong people, ended up cutting the wrong jobs, ended up investing in the wrong people, investing in the wrong infrastructure. All of these things have tarnished the UK, and we're suffering today. And I would say the Englishman today feels somewhat angry at the state of his country. And I am a British man, you know. I'm an Englishman. I even dream in English. Some people apparently don't talk or hear anything in their dreams, but I seem to be one of the types that can speak and listen in my dreams. Ooh. So I'm an Englishman. I love my crumpets, my scones with the jam and the clotted cream. I love my PG tips. I love some fish and chips. I watched the inauguration of the King, his crowning. I watched Diana's funeral. I watched the Queen's funeral. New Year's Eve, I sit there with the family, watching the fireworks on the TV. I used to sit down, watch The Weakest Link, Blind Date, Top Gear with my family. We sat around the TV. I've queued up in post offices. I've done it all. Some more? Yeah, let's go away. So a lot of my demeanor and a lot of the things and habits that I do is in line with your British values and British habits, I guess. That's gonna be my identity naturally. I am British, and I work with English people. I'm not in necessarily a trade that's just full of Bengalis. You know, when Bangladeshis and Pakistanis and Indians came here, first we were associated with the curry business, right? Yeah, good too. You know, our industry first was restaurants, Indian food, the curry. My dads, my uncles, and most Bangladeshi families, at least I can talk for, is rooted in the Indian curry business. Catering, takeaways, all of it. Restaurants, that was our bread and butter. You know, whether you're a chef or a restaurateur or a waiter, that was our main bread that we earned. And we slowly changed the taste of the nation to love curries. And so the money these families earned paid for the better lifestyle for their children. You know, they bought houses with it, they bought property abroad in Bangladesh with it, they bought cars with it. And a lot of families are successful today, all due to English people loving to eat curries. But me, born here, do I need to stay in that trade? No, you don't need to. Let's go. Let's do it right. Oh shit, I'm not gonna be able. Do I need to stay in a trade working just with Bangladeshis? No. I spend my days working with a multitude of cultures. I work with people all over the world in my company. And from young, I've worked with English people, you know, white English people. And that kind of integration or mixing has helped me share my upbringing and my values with them, and me also learn about their ways. And the beauty of it is you find similarities and overlaps. I don't know if this is loose gravel or not. I've earned my money, I paid my taxes, you know. This tax money goes towards social security to help others. it goes towards, or it's supposed to go towards our roads and infrastructure. You know, I think in terms of identity, you can identify as the country you love to contribute to. You know, I love to contribute to UK society, contribute in terms of helping pay my bit, do my bit, pay my taxes, but also help bring up others as well, you know, whether that's through sharing my knowledge, training up someone else, whether that's through being a decent neighbor and, you know, making ties with someone different to me next door. You know, my next door neighbor is an old Englishman. You know, he's got his ways and his, if you like, prejudices on how people and cultures are. But then I'm an example of that, you know, for him to be able to say, I have a Bangladeshi family next door and they're okay. Whenever it's Ramadan, Eid or weddings or whatever, you know, he's eating the same food we do. We always go around to ensure he has our food. If I'm washing my car and his car's next to me, I might just ask him, yo, do you want me to just wash yours as well while it's there? If he goes on holiday, he'll come to us and he'll give us his number, and sometimes he'll give us his spare key and say, you know, I'm going to be away for a bit, but just keep an eye on my house. That's that trust he made. There's nothing wrong with having the you lot mindset, the you lot, them, us, because we're different. You know, God made us different. We wear different types of clothes. We eat different types of food at home. We speak different language. That's beautiful. You know, the diversity in different nations. But if I go back to Bangladesh and I carry the way I am over there, I don't necessarily always fit either. Straight away you're in there, the way you walk, the way you talk, your accent, people know straight away you're not from here. I wouldn't say I've had any hostility from people. There's been a few in the public, but generally people are pretty nice. But there's drawbacks in that part of the world where I'm just not used to it. The way things are done, there's certain mindset that I don't fully agree with, you know. And I can't change that necessarily. And when I deep down root it, it's probably just down to certain mannerisms, certain etiquette, certain ways of looking after my environment that they don't, you know. And that's probably down to years of struggle, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. This is a typical traditional British village. Is Winslow a village? I used to work here actually. It's nice. Yeah, so when I go to Bangladesh, I don't feel like I fully belong. I'm an outsider, of course. Naturally, I've come over. I'm not there permanently. But do I feel like I want to leave the UK and go there? Probably not, because I have it in my DNA to be at one with the British ways, you know? And I'd miss that. I'd miss that familiarity of British traditions being in another part of the world. And whatever state Bangladesh is in terms of, you know, pollution, corruption, political corruption, in terms of people's health, in terms of, you know, the crisis with standards and safety, these things will change. You know, Bangladesh is on the come up. It will rise. Like all countries, you give them a chance to thrive, they will rise. England, you know, wasn't this advanced first world country, you know. Spent hundreds, thousands of years crippled with famine, poverty, struggle, corruption, and it's had the opportunity to bring itself up, you know, through many ways, you know, through discovery and innovation, through war, through spies, through information. And that's one thing I'm aware of as a British man, you know, as an Englishman. I'm aware that I am a byproduct of imperialism. You know, I don't like imperialism naturally because I feel like my destiny was shaped through British imperialism. Everything that I contribute to British society in terms of my mind, my education, my opportunity, my potential, it could have gone into Bangladesh had I been born there, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in Bangladesh right now who are wasting their chances to improve the country. They just sat there, just waiting for that foreign money, or just sat there. They probably have drug addictions, they probably have depression, all kinds of social anxiety because of looking around them. There's no role models, there's no revolution, you could say, you know. My country underwent a student revolution recently, a student protest, and they took back power from the current powers, from Sheikh Hasina, the Awami League. But there's still loads to go through, you know. I've contributed what I can to this country, to England, to the UK. I studied in Wales, I worked in England. A lot of my energy and a lot of my life has gone to contributing to this country, you know. And then now you got someone on Facebook typing in, get these muzzies, taking our country away from us, turning into Rajasthan, into Pakistan. The West it's a free market, you know, it's a capitalist country. You can make wealth and you can rise up and achieve almost anything based off of your attributes, your abilities, and your hard work. You know, that's the capitalist way. You can make wealth by being smart, working smarter, or even working harder. You can make money. And I think people, to some extent, have been left unfairly disadvantaged by government structures and organization, and also the environment they grew up in. You know, my dad took me away from, if you like, a saturated Asian area. Took me to an area that was predominantly white. I went to a school where I was like the only Bengali except my sister, maybe one or two other kids. Most of it was white. After white, it was black, and even black was a minority. But we integrated. Yeah, we had some racism, comments, a few dirty looks, a few fights, you know, scraps. But I still made sure when I got home, my dad was still mindful to tell me to do well. He didn't tell me to rebel against society. He didn't tell me to show middle finger to society. You know, he still taught me about history. He still taught me about the British Raj, the Mughals, the different dynasties, the different transitions of power. He taught me about Genghis Khan. You know, I really owe it to him. And he made me understand that power always changes. You could be a superpower today, and you could be third world tomorrow. And I think UK is on an economic downslope, if not some kind of recession. They've done well to hide it. They've done well to make the figures look good. So are they cooking it? I don't know. GDP, what, 0.3%? Or what is 0.3%? You're not gonna feel it, are you? The UK is struggling right now, and what happens is when you're desperate and you're cornered, you start looking at people who are different to you. Oh, they're a different color, they're a different language, they're a different religion. You know, I think desperate people start finding a way to blame someone else for their struggle. And that's a very human reaction, you know. No one really likes to take accountability, and no one really likes to take stock of what cards they've been dealt. Instead, they'd like to blame others for their misfortune. I do believe everyone's born different, you know. A Bengali boy has been born in the UK to a rich, wealthy father, and I'm a Bengali boy born here in England to a working class father. You know, so me and him, we're very alike. He's Bengali, I'm British, so am I, but he still has a different life to me. He has different advantages, he has different disadvantages to me. And life is really what you make of it and how you react to what's happened to you. You know, it's a mind state. I think poverty is a mind state. Third world is a mind state. You know, think of how many intellectuals have come out of India. You know, intellectuals in mind, body, spirit. Yet there's still loads of Indians taking a shit on the path in public today. There's still slums next to the Taj Mahal, you know. And the UK, more and more homeless people now. You know, when I come out of my station in Euston and I'm making my way to work, the amount of homeless people I'm seeing sleeping there, you know, 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, it's sad. These are once people who were born, had parents, were raised, fed, they were clothed, and something happened to put them now on the streets where they probably lost the motive and the will to carry on, you know. And it can happen everywhere, not just a third world country. So how do I identify? I speak English on English lands, wearing Western clothes, working for Western companies with a Western education. Yeah, I don't fully feel like I belong. And when I go back home to Bangladesh, notice how I called it home. I've been trained to call it home, you know, your true home. When I go back there, I feel somewhat bored, feel somewhat useless. I feel somewhat disliked, you know, because I've come from abroad. I'm now this apparent rich boy. And you're looked upon as if you're this wallet or someone that they could potentially scam or make money from or rob, or you just get that in your mindset. Not to say that's ever happened to that degree, but you're not the same there either. Where am I? I called myself the lost son of Bengal because I do feel like that. My skin color, my kind of moral compass, the way I think, the way I can sometimes get angry, the way I like certain foods, like certain music, it's all defined by my genetic DNA. I'm Bengali. But I don't fully belong there either. So a lot of people in the UK feel like they have no identity, that they're just in no man's land. And that's where I would say Islam really unifies all of that for me. Because Islam doesn't judge you based off of your nationality or your color. Islam is one guidance for one group of people, and that's mankind. That's nice. For men and women, from one original father and mother, broken up into many nations, many tribes, different colors, different languages, to all be guided by one overarching way of life. And I see the beauty in that. I see the gelling agent in that, and certain mosques that I've been to and certain places I've been to, I see Muslims all at peace with each other, and they're all from different nations. They're different colors, they're different heights, they speak different languages. And so the only real thing whenever I feel lost is Islam. That's the one thing that unites me with my surroundings, my life, where I come from, where I'm going. It teaches you about that. It teaches you the history of the world. It teaches you currently what's going on in the world, and it teaches you what's going to happen to the world. Everyone, everywhere right now is going through particular pain. That pain is with economics. It's an economic pain. It's cultural pain. People are having literally their culture wiped off the map. People are forgetting skills and traditions that their ancestors had. Like the Welsh language, it can one day become threatened. Gaelic can become threatened. Languages are dying. Customs as well, and these are all beautiful things, traditions and customs. Wherever culture it is that you're from, one day it will be replaced by something else, or it will just be lost and forgotten. In Japan, there's certain skills that are disappearing because there's just no one there to learn it. Everyone's gone off into the cities or just not interested anymore. I saw a documentary the other day of fish and chips, the fishmongers and the people who go to the docks to purchase and shop for fish. They're not there anymore. It's all old men, there's no young people. So there's fish and chips dying. The cost of fishing, the price is going up, people just don't have that kind of money to get it anymore. It's tough, it really is. And I think people are finding these easy to blame people, they're finding easy answers without any facts, without any real study. They're just looking at someone that's different to them and saying, it's because of you. You'd rather feed your family first than another family. That's just human instincts, If there's no food, you'd rather feed yourself, then you feed your children, your mother and father, before you start to think about the next household. And in an extreme scenario, that could lead to a lot of animosity between people. You start to lose your humanity. And in this kind of dull, longed out pain that people are going through, you know, struggling to grow their families, struggling to spend time looking after their families, enjoying time with their families, people struggling to cover all of their costs and just working crazy hours. It makes you really, really sad, and it can make you angry, and then you start looking for others to blame. Yeah, even me, I could start saying, and you know, part of me felt it. I felt like there was a lot of migration into the UK, probably too much, and we can't sustain it. We don't have the right resources and planning to be able to actually give these people a chance to get up like I did. And equally, I'm now struggling as a result because I can't get a doctor's appointment. I'm now having to pay a little bit more tax. There's less housing. The cost of things have gone up. So it's a struggle. Everyone's struggling on all sides. But does that mean I'm going to at any point just leave the UK and just like get rid of my identity? I don't think so. I think wherever I go, I'm always going to be British. My accent is English. It's British. And the way I, you know, my mannerisms and everything is Britain. And there's great things that it has taught me, you know. So yeah, I don't belong nowhere. But what gives me peace is that I've been taught good things from both my Bengali roots and from my English roots, and I try and take the best from everything and combine that, you know. Yeah, I try and take the best I can from everywhere, you know. I try to be a student of life, a traveler of life, you know. Wherever I go, I try and absorb the best I can from that. Whether that's the architectural beauty of the land I'm in, whether it's the food, whether it's the language and people, you know. I try and keep an open mind. Be a bit like Ibn Battuta or Marco Polo, you know, just go, travel and absorb. And I've not traveled a lot actually, so all I can really depend on is what I see in books, what I read in books, what I see on YouTube, and what I'm told, you know, and people I meet, because I meet people from abroad and I get to hear their way of life and the way they do things, and I'm a keen observer of people. And so I ask them, you know, what's the story behind this, and why do you do it this way? And I try and find similarities, you know. And Islam really gave me that blanket of peace that, don't worry, you know, the life of a person is a lonely one, you know, and you shouldn't feel sad about it. Just know that you come from a source. You were created, you know, and the land the water, the sky is all there for you to travel and explore in. Islam doesn't tell you to just stay stationed in one place. It promotes you to travel. It promotes you to meet others. It promotes you to spread knowledge. So I say I identify first as a Muslim. Muslim, one who is at one with his true nature, one who is at peace with his creation and the creation that he's in. You know, when I say creation, as in what I put to the world, what I take from the world, and the creation itself. There's no borders. So yeah, I just not really had any points to talk really about, just generally wanted to talk about my identity and how I feel. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna probably let it roll as I head back into Bletchley. You never tell if the gravel is loose. That's one thing with countrysides. You've got all the twisties, which is fun, but honestly, I try not to risk it too much with the grip. I try not to. Feels great, you know, the weather's amazing, all the greenery, feeling the wind on your arms. Alhamdulillah. Honestly, I'm smiling right now. This is literally the reason why I ride. Getting about, hearing the elements, being in the elements, and just enjoying some speed. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will try and keep them shorter. Some of the feedback I've had is that no one's got time to sit and listen to 1 hour's worth of video. So I'll probably start to work on how I can make my videos shorter, less umming and ahhing, and just get straight to the point. And I'm trying to upload this on high quality. I don't know how the sound is. I've got the mic under my mask. But I'm enjoying it. And I hope you've managed to enjoy this as well. If not my talking, at least the visuals. That's why I've done this. Just chat shit really, just go ride and talk. Right, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you.